Welcome to Late Entry, your favorite or soon-to-be favorite place for sports news, the wildest viral topics, and conversations guaranteed to make you laugh. I'm joined by our new addition to the crew. We got Captain America joining as a full-time co-host, and we got Kyle.
What's up?
Tonight we're going to be talking about the trending topic of 100 niggas versus a gorilla. We're going to cover the Pistons a little bit of NBA basketball, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, talk about the Shedeur Prank Calling, and as always with the funny posts. So let's get right into it. One of the most viral things that's been going on for, I would say, like the last week, maybe less than that. Someone posted a tweet and it said something along the lines of like, if 100 niggas were really serious, they could fight a gorilla and win. And I don't know about y'all, but I got my doubts on that situation. I'm feeling like in most circumstances, the gorilla is winning. I'm feeling like Doctor Strange when he was looking through all the different timelines and came back with that one. I think that's how we would have to do it. So I'm going to open it up to y'all first and see what you guys think about it, and then I'll give my thoughts. Toph, what you got?
Okay. I'll go ahead and start it off first. So, originally we were talking in the group chat, I had all intentions of thinking that, some kind of weapons, were viable. Of course, not guns. That's a little bit, too unfair. But at least, like, a spear, a knife, or something. So, my whole first original kind of, gameplay in that we had something else than our bare hands. And then once I learned that we got nothing but 100 average men, just our bare hands, yeah, there ain't no way we winning now. The only redeeming factor that we would have is kind of like a cheetah. A gorilla has a very short stamina lifespan in there. So they really only go for like, one strong minute, and then they're kind of like in cooldown mode, things like that. But if we're only using bare hands, they use two hands right here. Only do too much against a gorilla. The gorilla has, just in terms of strength, they can lift like over 1,000 pounds. They can literally take their hands, crush your skull, you're done. So one punch, one crush, you're done. And if you get bit, it says it has like a 1,300, PSI, which is 2 times the strength of a lion. So you add all that stuff up in there, and we only got our bare hands. I'm sorry, but we're gonna be down 100 people. Say goodbye. We're cooked. We're toast. There's nothing you could do. Now, if we had the weapons, you gotta think, way back the day, in the caveman days, they out there fighting the mammoths. I got about 10, 20 of them with the makeshift spears, just a true warrior, true heart, ain't afraid of nothing. They can take them down. But if we ain't got no weapons, we're cooked, man. Ain't nothing we could do. Say goodbye.
All right. Hey, I respect that. I'll let me get into it here. So, all right.
So we're gonna be down 100
I've made
people
a
in the world.
diagram.
Oh shit!
I made a diagram here. I got.
Okay.
Oh,
I got
he cooks.
20, you can't really see it. I got 20 coming this way, 20 coming this way, like 4 quadrants, right? All right, and so that's 80. So whatever group this gorilla charges at, your job is to do your best Barry Sanders impression.
Run.
Just bob and weave. And I ain't gonna like bob and weave, like don't get hit, try to avoid. But that gives the other 60 time. And I'm sorry, about 18 of you that he charged at are probably dead, minimum. Probably all 20. But y'all went down for a good cause because these other 60 got his 6 o'clock, his 9 o'clock, and his 3 o'clock. Now I got 5 guys on each side, 9 and 3, going for his toes, just trying to break his toes and just like piss him off, right? And now he's probably thrashing a couple in the meantime, but the other 15 are coming at the ribs on each side. And then the 6 o'clock, their job is to gouge the eyes out and gouge his ears so he can't see or hear anything, right? So given all of that happens, I have my 20 strongest men on each corner closing in from the start of the fight. And now hopefully the gorilla is weak enough to where they can get him on the ground and start to just ground and pound his head. And like, you hold him down, 5 men on each arm and ground and pound his ass. But that being said, that's assuming these other 80 can do their job, and I doubt it. So, kind of like you said, it's like a Doctor Strange situation. Yeah, unless they get him to the ground, it's over. Like, unless they get him on his back where they can actually get a finishing move, we're cooked.
Damn. Leave it to the white man to come up with some creative ways to kill some shit. Now I am.
Let me cook.
I was gonna say I am half white. I got my bag a little bit too on this one. Yeah. So I think in most situations we're fucking done. I think that people are talking about, like, you don't realize how many people 100 people is. I don't think people realize how big a fucking gorilla is. You're talking, like, on average, like 6 foot tall, 400 pounds. 400.
And talk about the weight force that Chris just talked about too. Like,
yeah. Like, I don't think people are understanding that one hit is eliminating a person. And I know, Chris, you're talking about how many he can only go for like a minute, right? How many punches do you think he can throw in a fucking minute? How many backhands?
A lot.
I think that, especially once he get that bloodlust going, he gonna start ripping niggas in half, bro. It's gonna look like a man in the movie theater devouring fucking Twizzlers. Like, this shit is gonna be bad.
And you have to hope that everybody, like, stay, like, when you see your friend get ripped in half, you have to stay the course.
Yeah.
That's not human nature, bro. That's
not at all.
You run. You get the fuck out. When
you see the man in front of you get ripped from his rooter to his tutor, it's gonna be real fucking hard for you to be like, I'm next. So, yeah, it's a little concerning, dog. But I'm thinking 100 people. I liked your idea. I'm kind of similar with waves, because I don't think that 100 people can even get their hands on the gorilla. And if they can, we're going to be subject to just the craziest backhands of all time. We're making this minute go by much quicker. So I had the same idea with waves. I'm thinking that we're going to have to just hit them. I was thinking like 15, 20 at a time. And do as much, like, everyone attacks at once. Everyone kind of gets out and then goes back in. If you get, like, popped and you are still alive by some miracle of God, back out for a second, catch your breath, get ready for the next wave. Like, it's going to be, like, just fucking onslaughts, just jumping them and jumping out and jumping back in and trying to leave them confused, dancing around them, trying to make
eyes out.
Yep, literally just trying to tire his ass out. Because I think the only way we win is if we tire him out. But if that gorilla's got some adrenaline and just gets to stomping, it's going to be bad. Y'all remember that scene from the first Avengers movie where Loki was talking that shit and the Hulk grabbed his ass and went, bop, 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 nigga, that's going to be all of us and our friends getting fucking mollywopped across this fucking field, bro. It's going to be a fucking bloodbath. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. And so I'm like,
oh, shit.
I mean, maybe we are able to get him in the end. It's going to probably be like 4.5 people left, and they're going to go home with some fucking trauma. With some absolute trauma. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night shaking over what you saw on the battlefield that day, dog. Shit's going to make the Battle of the Bastards look like a fucking trip to Disneyland.
Shit, dude.
But yeah, I think that people are highly underestimating how strong a fucking gorilla is, and the fact that 100 people are not going to all be able to get hands on him. So
on that note, R.I.P. Harambe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, he was.
Everyone's the way to come back.
Everybody, get up, take your dicks out, dicks out of Harambe. All right. In other news, the Pistons.
Back to business.
The Pistons pulled some shit out today, dog. I know when Buck and I were on Sunday, and we were talking about the Lakers and the Pistons heartbreaks, she was saying that she thought of the teams that were up 3-1 right now, the Pistons had the best chance of making the comeback of that, because every game has been close. It feels like it should not be 3-1, and the Pistons low-key got robbed on Game 4. So, They battled it out, had another grinder, and won on an elimination game in New York today. So very impressive. Kyle, I know you the other big Pistons fan. What you got to say?
Man, I am thrilled right now. That entire game, I was freaking out. I did not know how I was going to react on this podcast or do this podcast. if we didn't come out with that win, because it would have been such a heartbreak after the flip around season that we've had. I'm happy to see another game. It was ugly for a lot of it, but we found a way, man. We really did. Durant on the inside was clutch. Beasley hit a couple threes. I would like for him to turn it back on, but I know it's playoff ball, and he's not going to get close to the open shots he was getting in the regular season. So, and he really needs to be open to hit those. But that's my one big gripe is the Pistons in mid-range and deep is like anytime a hand was even close to in their face, like it felt like they couldn't make it in the first half. So you're not going to advance too far in the playoffs if you can't make those pressure shots. So I need to see a little bit better offense. Their defense has been amazing. The matchup with Asar Thompson on Brunson was like, oh man, Brunson didn't know what the hell to do tonight, and I loved it. And obviously, you don't want to see the star player get hurt on the opposite team, but that unfortunately for the Knicks, it did help us win tonight. I think in those closing minutes because he was milking an injury.
Real quick before I let you hop in, Toph. It is good going back to Detroit for the next game. Hopefully, we should be able to avoid closeout at home. Although they've won the 2 games that they've won on the road and lost both home games. So, interesting situation. Although they did get robbed game 4, but hopefully we don't end up for...
been close.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I do agree. Like, there was a weird... Like, there was something off when they were at home. Like, they weren't ready for the crowd. Because fans are finally showing up in Detroit for Pistons games again, I feel like the players weren't quite ready for it. Hopefully they are in Game 6.
Yeah. I don't know what would be a bigger heartbreak, losing at home Game 6 or pushing it all the way to Game 7 and then taking the L. Toph?
First, I want to say, this series in particular, at least for me, I feel like it's by far the best series in the playoffs. All 5 games have pretty much been, right down to the wire, anybody's game. Today's matchup, I just feel like the consistency of the Pistons kind of overcame the Knicks starting 5. All the starting 5 of the Knicks had double-digit points. If you look at their bench scoring, it was obsolete. Whereas the Pistons, I think he got like 16, 19 from Malik Beasley. He had some clutch shots, down the end to the third, fourth quarter. Tobias Harris got you 10 points. Now, I'm not the biggest Tobias Harris fan. I feel like he's very, very inconsistent. But in this role with the Pistons, you don't need a lot for him. If you could get 10 points from him, hey, that's a win. Now, Cade Cunningham, phenomenal game. Well, even though he didn't shoot the best, I think he only missed like 1 free throw. At that fourth quarter, the man said, I will not be stopped. I'm going to take it to the rack. I'm going to hit these clutch shots. And I really don't think the Knicks have anybody that can match up with him that well. He's too big of a guard. Dylan Brunson can't guard him. OG, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. It takes a lot to stop Cade Cunningham. His evolution this season with getting the 3 ball, just more IQ. Don't take any bad shots. Kind of get everybody involved. This truly is, an even matchup between both teams. But like I said, you can honestly say, the Pistons got robbed Game 4. I'll be honest. That was not on them. Refs all year have not been a Pistons fan. I don't know what it is. Some kind of collusion. I don't know if they like J.B. Bickerstaff, but they got something, with Detroit. They don't want to see them prosper or win. Like I said, I think if the Pistons cannot let the refs take over the game, that's their best chance. Get yourself ahead. They don't have to, let the refs decide the game. But now, tip my hats to the Pistons, man. They played a hell of a game today. They deserved this one. Kept themselves alive. Anything can happen now. It's 3-2. You said they're going back home now.
Yep.
They've lost it too. They just got to keep this momentum. Play good. I think he had a good strategy this game, and they just got to keep doing the same thing.
The one thing that I will say that would be, I guess, something that you would look to for hope, if I don't know what to say hope, but encouragement if you're the Pistons or the Knicks. I'm sorry. Some bad management down the situation and being out of timeouts really fucked them over because you had Josh Hart and Brunson both, like you had mentioned, get injured right at the end, step out for a second, and they couldn't get him back in the game. So, I mean, you had probably, 35, 45, maybe a minute go by with your best player and maybe your third best player not on the court. So,
And they just couldn't get to a break. Yeah.
yep. So, I mean, we'll see.
That was weird. Every time they were bringing it up the court when they were standing on the sideline, I was just thinking they're going to call a timeout and bring him back in, and it almost worked saving them till that late, you know. They almost still found a way.
Well,
Mikal Bridges with that 3-pointer at 27 seconds. I was like, no, man. Like, I was coming down here to prep my shit, and I was like, I'm going to have a mad podcast. All right.
Well, they only had the Pistons, or the Knicks only had one timeout left, so that was what their issue was that...
Right.
Yeah, they were trying to save that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with how close the games have been, if you need to save that for inbounding the ball or something.
That makes sense.
Did anyone else's, TV, fuck up during that? I was watching it.
No.
No, that's Chicago shit.
No. So I went on on Twitter and searched it too. So it happened to a few other people. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm watching it. They go to commercial. They come back to the fucking beginning of the Nuggets Clippers game, and I'm like, what the fuck? And so
With 5.5 seconds left.
16 seconds, I think.
16.
Yeah, I missed 1 sequence in there. Because of that, I was like, what the fuck? So I backed out. I switched to the Celtics game, and then I came back. And when I came back, then it showed the right game for some reason. But I was like, no way, they just shut the end of the game off. So it's weird that didn't happen to you guys, but whatever. Last 2 weeks, if it has shown us anything, it is the what can fucking happen being 100 years old, fucking around with these young girls, dog. And no, we already talked about Shannon Sharp, but that is one of the people I'm alluding to. We're going to talk about that if we get more information out of it. But I'm talking about Bill Belichick. He was just on I think it was an NBC interview, and he was there, and his girlfriend, so I think Bill is in his 70s. His girlfriend, I think, is 24.
He's 71, I think.
Yeah,
71. Okay, yep. Then she was sitting off to the side, and the interviewer even talked about the fact that she was a constant presence, and kept interjecting in the podcast or into the interview, and then they even got to the point where they asked how they met, and she literally interjected from the side. She was like, "We're not going to talk about that." And it was like, what the fuck? I think Bill can probably articulate what he's feeling on his own. So I've seen all sorts of theories about that. I mean, they're saying they've been together for how long? They can't come up with one credible story as to how they met. I know a lot of people were wondering if she's a call girl, a high-end call girl or something like that. What is the reason that you guys don't want to talk about how y'all met? What? But that's aside the point. Those are just theories. UNC, there's reports now that UNC is uncomfortable and I guess trying to figure out not saying that they're going to move on or anything, but they're starting to feel a little uneasy about her involvement with him. I know that she's running different things at practice, kind of controlling different aspects and stuff like that. And so I know that they're kind of starting to be like, all right, what's happening here? What have you guys heard?
For me, like I said, I did watch that whole interview again today. Because like I said, we kind of talked about it. I want to make sure, I was up to date and everything. The only thing that I could think of is, Bill Belichick used to, this is the Patriots, forever. He's used to running, more of a professional style team. I'm pretty sure with the Patriots, he was pretty much the GM, the coach. I mean, he was the guy. He made pretty much all decisions, whether that was good or bad. And, now that, he's in the college realm, that's a whole different ball game. You can kind of see the landscape of college changing to kind of more, the Wild West and things like that. Where he has to pretty much transition from, I don't want to say a dictatorship, but we all heard about the Patriot way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to fly with these, 18, 20, 21-year-olds who, as soon as you go to the recruiting, all they want to talk about is, how much money I'm going to make. I could see as this Jordan girl being 24, trying to kind of, get him more hip to the younger audience, things like that. But like I said, in terms of just that whole interview, it's just really weird how Bale couldn't answer anything, and it kind of felt like Jordan was kind of interjecting, interrupting, just not letting Bill Belichick say anything. So it definitely is a weird dynamic and things like that. like I said, I heard people think it could have said like an escort or like what exactly is her like involvement. I did remember hearing that like all like decisions or like emails, messages, anything like that actually goes to her before it goes to kind of like Bill Belichick. It was kind of like I want to say she's like the coach, but like she is pretty much 100% involved in anything in Belichick's life. She has like some kind of part with it as well too. It's definitely a weird dynamic, and I can kind of see where North Carolina's like, oof, we hired Bill Belichick, not you.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, thing. Yeah, this should be on him. Cause I also know that like I don't know like exact timeline, but he was like caught, leaving this girl's house like super early in the morning and things like that on some TMZ style. It was definitely a weird dynamic going on.
Well, how you get caught leaving your girlfriend's house? Like,
well, we don't know if she was like still with his ex-wife at that time.
Oh, back like a while back. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
this is way back.
Oh,
yeah, way
okay,
back.
okay.
They reported her as 26 at the time, I think, and then it's come out that she's like younger and younger through more and more reports, and it's like this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bill has become an Instagram husband, and he doesn't even know it yet. The interviewer kept going, and he was like showing him the yoga pose where he had his feet up in the air, and he was like holding her up in a Superman pose, and like just like stupid Instagram pictures that he took. And Bill didn't even know how to answer those questions. Like he was just like, "Yeah, I just play football." I just coach my guys. And
was that a sneeze?
No.
Bless you? Question mark?
I swallowed my spit a little bit.
Okay. This motherfucker dying.
Spit. Let me get a drink of water.
Get him some water.
I'm drier than Bill Belichick. I meant his personality. You guys, your minds are in the gutter here. Oh my god. So I think Bill goes, he takes those picks, and then he immediately goes and he finds out what Duke's spread is, and he's like, I don't give a shit about that. I'm trying to fucking win football games. So I think Bill Belichick will be a good coach. We'll see.
I'm not sure like how often we really have ever heard of a situation where like a coach's like girlfriend or wife or whatever is like down on the field during practice and stuff like that. That seems, I don't want to say it's unprecedented because we don't fucking know everything that's happened before everywhere, but that's an interesting storyline I'd like to think about, and like her level of involvement in that seems very interesting. I would imagine that Bill wouldn't have this job if his mind wasn't still sharp, but I mean, you hear stories of like, and I don't want to speculate too much because I don't fucking know these people, but you hear stories about, like a younger woman taking advantage of an older man, just trying to like start running his life, get stuff together. I saw a tweet saying like, hey, if his kids need to start looking at the will, make sure that things haven't changed. So yeah, very interesting to see. And what's interesting too is that I haven't seen the same levels of, I mean, obviously the allegations against Shannon are severe. I haven't seen the same level of people calling Belichick a creep the same way that they were with Shannon Sharp. So I think that's interesting to note as well too.
It's a big age. It's a way. I mean,
bigger.
Not that Shannon isn't a big, but
like 20 years.
Yeah, it's 20 more years.
It's almost 50.
Yeah. It was like 50 to 19 or 54 to 19 as opposed to 71 and 26.
Both aren't good. Both aren't defendable.
That being said, I mean, consenting adults have the right to do whatever they want to do. I'm not trying to get in their bedroom, but all right. Moving on back to the NBA. Jimmy Butler is living the fucking life that we all expected Luka to be living right now. I personally remember being on record when the Warriors got Jimmy, and I was saying it's not enough. That they're going to need more help. That just getting playoff Jimmy is not going to be enough to make the difference on that. And so far, I've been fucking wrong. Like they're balling now. Granted, the Lakers getting the 3 seed and having to play the Timberwolves has been fucked. Like that's fucked them more than the Warriors going to the play-in and getting the 2 seed, who's the Rockets. Like I think that we can all agree the Timberwolves are better than the Rockets. That being said, the Warriors just pulled out another close game last night, playoff Jimmy showed up in the fourth quarter. I think he had like 12 or 14 points. It's good. And you add in one player at the trade deadline, superstar, to a team, and he's made a humongous difference. And so I know that me personally, and I know a lot of other people were expecting this to be the story we were thinking about Luka. Like, Luka came to the Lakers, and now they're just blasted the fuck off, and instead it has not been the Lakers, and it's been Jimmy. You guys' thoughts on that? Because I'm pretty fucking butthurt.
I remember posing the question to you about when Jimmy got. I was like, "Does that have any weight to you guys?" And you guys were all like, "No." And I was like, "All right." I mean, I kind of understood your point at that time, but playoff Jimmy is different, man.
Yeah, Toph.
Yeah, so I mean, let's look at it from Jimmy Butler's perspective. You know, you could say, maybe in NBA history, what player has taken a team to the finals, twice, with just, like, you know, very little help and things like this? Like, yeah, you got Bam Adebayo. In terms of, like,
LeBron James.
Superstar?
LeBron James.
Anyway. He's not wrong. I mean, the 06, he really took, you know, some G Leaguers to the finals. That was done.
2018?
I mean, he's a...
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
You can continue.
You're right. Anyway, like, Jimmy Butler, for probably the past, 2 or 3 years, what has he been complaining about? I want another superstar to play with. And now he finally got his wish. They also have two completely different styles. But Jimmy Butler is like Jamal Murray. You know, they kind of co-spy in the regular season, but when the postseason starts, he turns into a top 5 player. You know, he plays really hard. He's going to do the dirty work as well, too. He's a way different style player than what Kevin Durant was, what Klay Thompson was. I think it's probably a better pairing for Steph Curry, as old as he is, and he's still Steph, but, you know, he ain't getting no younger. You know, he's going to need some more help as well, too. You know, basketball's a 5-on-5 game. Not one player is going to win you, especially a 7-game series. Like I said, he just takes to a whole nother level. His intensity. Either you're going to know you could count on Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. There's also the help from the others. You know, Draymond, he's going to give you a couple texts, a couple fouls. He's going to do the Draymond things. The ultimate workhorse. You know, maybe a little dirty, but, you know, he's the heart of that team and things like that. And Steph Curry didn't have his best game. This is why you need, you know, your wingman, your second best player to kind of carry, you know, the team. Everybody's going to have an off day. You know, it's hard to be, you know, consistent every game that you play. You know, we're human. You know, you're going to have an off day. Like I said, the others, I think Pods, he dropped 26, played a hell of a game. Jimmy Butler got to the 27. And like I said, all the others, Buddy Hield got some good shots in towards the end of it. But Jimmy Butler, he's just in a very good situation where, you know, now he's the Robin to the Batman and things like that. So like I said, are they going to win this series? Probably. Anything after that, I don't know about that one. Like I said, Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, man, he's a threat. You know, you got to watch out for that, man. So I'm happy for Jimmy, though.
I'm glad that you brought up Pods, because I gotta eat some more fucking crow, bro. I know this is before you joined us, Toph. All season I've been talking about how Austin Reeves is really the 3 on a big 3, that he's a superstar. Well, not yet, but that he's really coming into stardom. And as I'm looking around at some of these other games, man, Reeves has shrunk in the playoffs against the Timberwolves. And if you look at, like, the Timberwolves, for example, Naz Reid been absolutely phenomenal fourth quarter. I'm watching the Warriors last night. Pod's balling out. Watching all these other 3s showing up and doing more than Austin Reeves is. So I'm feeling like a fucking jackass today on this one. All Austin Reeves fucking star takes are on hold for me currently until we see what the fuck is going on moving forward. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy's made the Heat look real bad. Like, you let this guy leave unhappy. And all that for the Heat way this and Heat way that, and the Heat just got fucking exposed. I don't even know. I'm trying to look for a stronger word than that. They got their fucking pants pulled down and spanked on fucking national TV. The fucking NBA and TNT guys were talking about, hey, y'all can just change the channel. Just come back at 10 for the next game. Like, it was bad, dog. They got fucking destroyed. It was like a 50-point blowout or some shit like that. Talking about the Heat quit that the players had literally quit playing the game, and this is the Heat culture that is so, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, his departure has really highlighted that, and it's not looking good for the Heat. It's not looking good for Pat Riley.
That was a funny clip I saw about Hero earlier too. That he was like, "We're not giving up after Game 3, man. We're gonna play hard, whether it's Game 4, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. We're giving it all we got for 48 minutes." And then it showed his interview after the last one. He's like, "Obviously, this is disappointing, but," and it was just like it was a totally different attitude, and yeah, the culture has been ripped out of Miami because of Jimmy being ripped out of Miami.
Yeah.
Good for Golden State.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna see if with what happened to the Bucks today, them losing, and we don't even got to talk about it because that shit. Another thing that I was wrong about. I thought that Giannis was gonna be able to do a lot more for them than I thought, and I've been calling the Pacers fraudulent the whole time. I've been wrong a lot in the last few weeks, but I was said that the Pacers were.
At least you can own it. A lot of sports journalists can't own it. You owned it.
Yeah, man, I've made some real bad calls, but I was calling the Pacers fraudulent, and they put the Bucks down. And Giannis had 30 points and a bunch of other. I don't have his full stats in front of me, but he had a really good game, and they still lost in heartbreaking fashion. They were up 7 with like under a minute to go and blew that. So, yeah, we'll see if I think one of two things is going to change after this season. The Heat are going to make an aggressive move to try to get Giannis from the Bucks, which would be real fucking hurtful for Dame. Shout out Dame. I know he tore his Achilles. I hope he makes a quick and full recovery. But the fact that Dame wanted to go to Miami and wound up with the Bucks, and then if fucking Giannis leaves to go to the Miami, that'd be real painful. But I think that the Heat are either going to try to get him, or I think Pat Riley is going to be asked to step down. One of the two. We'll see. But I know we were talking about like the Timberwolves and the Warriors. I think that we're about to talk about the Timberwolves in a second. I think that the Warriors, no matter what happens this series, they're going home next series. And that brings us to our next point. Ant Edwards is on a fucking crazy run. And my God, dog, he is looking at the potential to do one of the most impressive fucking things ever. Well, I guess maybe not ever, but for in recent history, right? Last season in the playoffs, he sent home Booker, KD, Jokic. This season, he is one game away from sending home LeBron and Luka. And then he would play Jimmy and Steph next in the playoffs, which I think the Timberwolves could beat them. If he sends Steph and Jimmy home, he's going to have beaten every fucking major star in the last 10 years that's in the West. Everyone that you could beat, he's fucking would have beat. Jokic, one of the best players in the world, home. KD, one of the best players in the world, home. LeBron and Luka, two of the best players in the world, about to be fucking home. And then he's coming for Steph, dog. It's like that fucking like meme of the Grim Reaper going door to door, and like 4 doors are fucking bloody, and you're knocking on the last one. If he beats Steph and Jimmy, we're gonna have some crazy ass talks about where Anthony Edwards is right now, because he would have sent home every major star in the last 10 years that's in the West home.
For a guy who doesn't want to be the face of the league, he's making a real good case at it.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes,
Every
bro.
big game he plays, he steps up and he performs. And, I mean, God, I can't think of the guy's name right now, but his number 2 who's been balling this series.
Julius Randle?
Just been a great... Who's that?
Randle or Naz Reid? Jaden McDaniels? I mean, they got a crew.
McDaniels has been balling. McDaniels has been balling this series. And that's just kind of a matchup thing for him right now, I'm sure. But, like, Ant is just facilitating and putting on a masterclass and putting LeBron in a box. Like, he's pissing LeBron off, making LeBron complain to the refs before the ball is even put out and play, like, on an inbound pass. You know, he's getting in all the Lakers' heads. And that's what he does. In a big game, he just knows what to do. He knows how to play, and he's a crash out in the best way. Like, he's not going to let his ego get in the way. He's just going to let his ball do the talking.
Yeah. And it's crazy because he's one of those players that as the game gets closer, he gets more dialed in. You get to the fourth quarter, he's taking us home, and his team knows it. Like, look, Ant got us. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's going to close that shit out. And I'm telling you, as a Lakers fan, as a LeBron and Luka fan, dog, like, I am fucking terrified for this next game. I don't know if we survive it, but I don't think that we win 3 straight anyway, so it's just a fucking matter of time of how long it is before we get fucking cooked. I've said this before. Ant has been my third best player after LeBron and Luka, or third favorite player after the two of them. And I'm at the same time of being so sad. I'm so happy and so excited for. You got fucking meteors falling. What's going on, dog?
No, my air vent kicked on, and I was like, what the hell? It sounded weird. I'm sorry. I muted and everything so that I wouldn't make a scene, and you had to get distracted.
You've been fucking fighting everything the whole time you've been on, dog. Your body's fighting against you. Your house is trying to kill you. But yeah, man. Being a fan of Anthony Edwards has been extraordinarily rewarding the last 2 seasons, and my God, what a tear he's on. And if he winds up, I mean, he's got, it looks like a very strong possibility at making it to the finals this season. With the tear that he's on, the team that he's got, I'm fully locked in on the. I mean, once this Lakers series ends, I'll be fully locked in on the, like, how far can Ant go right now, because it's looking very impressive. And we're going to have to have some conversations. I know you touched on it about him saying that he doesn't want to be the face of the league. Bro, that shit's coming for you. Like, it is coming for you. You can tell us you don't want it, but we are here and we're fucking dialed in. And everyone,
I want to watch. Yeah.
He was the big storyline of last season. Everyone was like, "Oh shit! Like, do y'all see this guy? Do y'all see what's going on right now?" And he's picked up this season, this postseason, exactly where he left it last season. So, very, very impressed. Toph, I'll let you get in here.
Yeah, man. Like I said, Ant-Man's definitely, he's in my top 5 favorite players. I'm gonna get a little off topic right here. The thing that I love most about Ant is that attitude, man. He's got the dog mentality. He is supremely confident. Just like some guy, that got drafted by an NFL team a little bit too late, the person that's gonna run my franchise, they gotta have the dog in them. They don't care about nothing. They're here in attack mode. They want to kill, bloody murder, and that's it. He don't duck no smoke. He said KD was his favorite player. Sent that boy home 4 games. See you later. Go to Cancun. Like I said, Ant-Man, he improved his 3-point. I think he made the most threes.
Yep.
This entire
year.
He either made the most.
My boy Malik.
Did he beat Malik? I thought Malik might have edged him. He does.
No,
he
got second. I think Malik said something. He said, "Oh, let me go ahead and get these 8-7 threes real quick." Like I said, Ant-Man. Like I said, that man is. I know you guys said about the face of the league. I think that's a whole nother kind of topic. I don't think you gotta have a face of the league, but I feel like the players in today's era, I don't think they really care about being the face of the league and things like that.
Well, hold on before you move on from that, then. Let's talk about it for a second then. Who else do you think it is? I know that people don't care about it, but people are going to watch someone. Like, everyone's going to tune in to watch that guy. And
Who's the guy?
I don't see anyone else other than Ant.
Well, if you want to talk about, face of the league, the NBA is played, in the U.S. You could argue probably the 3 top players in the NBA, they're all foreign. They're not American players. You could argue, the Jokic is definitely number 1. You could argue, Giannis. You could argue Shea. You could argue Luka.
But are
in
people,
terms of American play?
Are people tuning in to watch them the same way that they're watching Ant? Do you think that Americans are being gravitated, or that they're gravitating toward those other players? Because I agree with you, but I mean, like, I feel that, the Thunder, granted, they beat the shit out of the Grizz. There wasn't much to talk about, but I feel like people aren't really talking about these other players like that. You know what I mean?
So I guess pre-Luka trade, like when you heard about the Luka trade, you think, okay, he's the one that's gonna fight Ant for that role. In my opinion,
I agree.
Like, he would be the next person, right?
Because of his team, because he's in being on the Lakers.
Yep. Because he's in LA, and his performance since he's gotten to LA, it's been great, but it hasn't been, and he doesn't need to, right? But obviously this series, like, they've lost, and he hasn't taken over any games like he did when he was with the Mavericks. So what's going on with Luka right now, right? So I think, like, the stock on Luka is low. The stock on Ant is high right now. And I do kind of see where both of you are coming from. I almost think the face of the league is going to fluctuate year to year because of the era we're in. Like, Jokic might have been the face of the league off of his 2 back-to-backs, you know? Like, it's like, wow, is he the mold? Like, he is the number 1 player. Like, he's playing amazing. He's a facilitator. And for a big man to be able to pass like that and shoot like that, nobody's ever done it. But is he the face of the league? I don't know. He goes home and freaking horse ranches like 6 months out of the year. He don't give a fuck about ball. So is that guy the face of the league? I don't think so.
I think
Let me ask you guys 2 questions.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask both of you guys to answer this question. You know, what is your criteria for the face of the league?
I think it's who the people want to see. And real quick to the Jokic point, I think that, not to take anything away from Jokic, but I think that the fact that they played the Lakers in 2 crazy series the last 2 years added to that, because people are watching because it's a premier team of the Lakers. If Jokic was playing the Grizzlies, I don't think that people are tuning into that as much. But to answer your question, Toph, I think it's who we want to see, who we're excited to see when we go home. You know what I mean? I can't wait to get home and turn on, especially if it's not a team that you're rooting for. Like, if you're, like, let's say the Pistons are out, right? Or the Pistons are playing, and you're making the time out of your day because, holy shit, I can't miss what Anthony Edwards is going to do tonight. That's my take on that. Kyle?
Yeah, I would say somebody that's at the upper echelon of the league, and somebody that's, I don't want to say polarizing, but somebody that is charismatic and is good at, like, developing their image, I guess, which I think Ant has done in a way of he doesn't want to develop it. He's just being himself. He's being authentic, and the people are just vibing with it.
Yep.
And that's why he's going to be the face of the league, because he's just like, yeah, I'm just a normal guy that's freaking amazing at basketball and knows how to turn on that next gear. And, yeah, that's...
Yeah, there you go. So I think if you combine both the guys' answers, you get the face of the league. You know, you look at LeBron, you know, he was the chosen one coming out of high school. You know, for you to be the face of the league, you got to have a bunch of different elements. Kind of like what Kyle said. You got to be charismatic, you know, personality. You also got to be just like a good human being. You know, if you're going to be the face of the NBA, you can't have all these off-the-field baby mama dramas.
What about the guy in your shirt?
You know, you can't
what about the guy in your shirt?
These guys?
The one...
The GOATs?
Yeah, what about Kobe?
This guy right here,
no,
or this one right
Kobe.
there? I mean, yes, he did have his little, you know,
he had his
the news about his thing, but I mean, I don't want to say Kobe was the face of the league.
I think in 2000, maybe, you know.
In the 2000s, yeah.
He still had Shaq. I wouldn't say Kobe was the face of the league ever.
Fair
enough. He was one of the, you know, the most popular players, but I don't think he was ever the face.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true.
What about when Shaq was gone?
There was a big drought before he got...
Yeah, it took him a while for him to get that next ring. Because at that time, you're going to say, well, he left in what? What did he go? 04?
You're telling me the person that had people at home fucking Kobe shooting anything, a piece of paper into the trash can, that wasn't what face of the league?
Nope. Now you're asking me. That's my opinion. I don't think he was the face of the league at that time.
I think that's a very hot take. But
hey, I'm here for the hot take.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Come on. I'm on my I ain't dodging. No smoke. Come on with it.
Okay.
I mean, I feel you, though. Like, Kobe was hot at that time, like in the mid 2000s. Like he got the 89 game. Like I don't know. I felt like it was LeBron's for the taking from the moment he got into the league. So I guess that's where, like, as soon as LeBron came into the league, to me, like, I was so young and impressionable, and I saw this 18-year-old come in and take Cleveland to 500 in his first season, and funny enough, I was at his last game of that season, and he like ripped his shirt off in the last 30 seconds because he couldn't beat the Pistons to go exactly 500. He went 40 and 42. I'll never let you forget that, Bron. But I that was like a moment I remember thinking that I was 7 years old, and I was like, this guy is going to take over the league because he almost beat us by himself. Like, so from that moment, I was like, this is his league.
And I mean, if you ask me personally, I think this guy, you know, right here, Mr. 2-3, he was the face of the NBA. Even to this day, this man's been retired, but anybody that comes to the league, who are they still chasing to be quote unquote the GOAT? You either got LeBron or you got this guy in there. Now, Kobe, he had a bunch of commercials, and like I said, he was definitely hype in the NBA. But you can't tell me that when LeBron entered the NBA was not trying to push that agenda, as in LeBron being the chosen one, the next king. In terms of marketability, charisma, star power, pushing product, man, I got a couple of LeBrons myself. I got one pair of Kobe's, a million Jordans. Like I said, so I definitely think, as in this guy, 18, this huge wave of just eyes in the NBA, they wanted to push LeBron over anybody else because they knew he had the biggest star power out of anybody. Yes. So Kobe definitely had his time in the sun, but in terms of the biggest star power, I think it's hard to pick somebody bigger than LeBron. I mean, the man's still playing to this day. The man's 40 years old. He wasn't supposed to be here. As he said in his own words in there. In terms of get back on our original topic, in terms of like face the NBA, I think you got to win championships. You got to have personality. You got to have some motion. Like I said, in terms of you got to have jersey sales, shoes, anything like that. And I think it's pretty hard to be the face of the NBA as a foreign player, just because the NBA is more of a American style. It's played in the U.S. and things like that. Team USA. I think it's very hard for a foreign player to be face of the NBA.
Yes.
And I think they have a whole different kind of mindset. Or like I said, Jokic, he's trying to go back home to the ranch, the horses, things like he's not, you could probably say that basketball's not his main, of course it's his focus, but I don't think you say that's like his passion and things like that. And even Ant already says, he doesn't care about being face the NBA. He just wants to hoop. He just wants to play ball. That's what he loves and things like that. So kind of like what Kyle says, I think it'll be like a revolving door. But of course you're going to want to find one face, but I don't think they really care about it. I think they just really want to play the game.
I think, just to respond to you real fast on that before we keep it pushing, but I think I agree with Kyle about Ant's authenticity, and even the fact that he says he doesn't want it goes a lot further than someone like Jason Tatum, who clearly wants it, but people think that he's corny. The other thing is, you said that in order to be the face, you have to have rings. I don't think that that's true at all. To your point, LeBron was getting pushed as that when he first got in. He's one of the people that took the longest time to get over the hump. Michael Jordan was the face of the league before he ever won a championship. Back when he was still getting swept in the first round and Larry Bird was saying that was Jesus and sneakers. I don't think that you need rings for it. I don't. And maybe in today's day and age you do, because people aren't going to crown you as like the greatest. You might not be the best player in the league, but I don't think that being the best player in the league and being the face of the league necessarily have to be the two same things. Any final thoughts for that before I keep it pushing?
No, I mean, you got to be a statistician, which I think Ant is, and yeah, you make a good case.
Cool. All right, so we're going to talk about some Shedeur stuff for a second. We're going to talk about the prank calls. But before I do, I want to tie in something that I think perfectly explains the point that I made in our previous episode, talking about why Shedeur fell. And I was talking about the fact that being a young, cocky, confident, potentially arrogant black quarterback makes people uncomfortable. And I said that it especially rubs white people the wrong way. Not all white people, but just in the sense of like some everyday people, some higher up stuff like that. And so I posted, I chopped up our takes, mine, Nolan's, and Toph's, and I put those on TikTok, right, to try to get people's opinions, see what they're thinking about him. And one of the first people that I had comment in my in the comments for this, and I'm gonna call this person out. This is Adam Morgan 7408. Dropped in the comments, "White is right," and I didn't want to fly off the handle to begin with. I wanted to make sure I understood what he was saying correctly. So I said, "Are you saying this as in you're a white supremacist, or saying this as in white can get away with more?" On the fact that like a Johnny Manziel character could get away with more shit than Shedeur was. And he said, "I'm saying this to be cocky, just like you, Shedeur. I'm wrong. He wasn't. I'm confused." And then he said, "Why can he be cocky, but no one else can? I'll wait for your educated response." Which seems layered and fucked upness to begin with. But my response to him, I said, "I don't know how you saying white is right is being cocky. If you said that," because he's on his TikTok is all him in the gym lifting. I said, if you said that one day you're going to be the greatest weightlifter in the world and told everyone, I'd respect you for your belief in yourself. And my whole perspective that I tied back into the race element of the Shedeur thing is, why was your first thought of being cocky or trying to make a point about being cocky to not make a statement like that? Why was your first response to drop white is right in my comments or our comments? You know what I mean? That's what brings in the race element that I'm talking about. That Shedeur pisses people off because he's arrogant, because he's cocky. And so people are going to turn to me and say, I'm making it about race. The first thing that you commented in my fucking DM or in my comments was white is right. It seems to me like y'all tying the race aspect and they're just the fucking same as I am. You know what I mean? His cockiness, his arrogance, his belief in himself is polarizing to people, and not in a sense that has anything to do with his fucking skill on the field. They hate to fucking see a young, fucking successful, fucking arrogant, fucking black man be him. And so it's going to bring you to a point where what you come to the comments and say is nothing about any other sort of cockiness or confidence that's an equal equation to that. You're going to come in here and talk about how white is right. And I think that at least to me, that perfectly proves and encapsulates the exact argument I was making on the last episode. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that, or we should just keep it pushing, but I wanted to get that out there.
So I just kind of want to ask, a general question, like, what does he do that comes off just arrogant to people?
I mean,
like, I feel like cocky and arrogance are two different things.
He is arrogant. I mean, a lot of people.
And he says like things like, "Yeah, you want to pick me," but like Cam Ward says the same stuff, right? Like, you want me, like I'm gonna play ball. I love ball. I honestly think his social media presence probably, like, after he had these interviews, maybe they like went and checked his socials and they saw all these clips of him and his dad just like jawing it up, and to them they're like, yeah, I don't need a guy that's like, I don't know, I don't agree with any of it, but like I guess like they're just like, I don't need a guy that's like gonna be coming in my office all the time and talking to me and showing me his stuff, and like there's such a systematic, like, honestly, probably even in the league, like, there's a systematic, like, racist tone. Like, the fact that Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck and Dylan Gabriel got picked in front of him. And I know Dylan Gabriel had a great season, but he's 5'9", and Shedeur is everything that Dylan did for Oregon. Is, like, Shedeur could have done the same thing, but he was playing for his dad. And honestly, I think part of that is his dad too. Like, for him to slide that much, and I don't know. Fuck this asshole in our comments. Like, he doesn't know ball. He's just showing up to make a polarizing comment, probably trying to get engagement like everybody else nowadays. And if he says some polarizing white supremacist comment, or just some generic like white is right comment, like he thinks he can get some clicks off it, well, not on this fucking podcast, bitch.
I got another question.
Well, I was just gonna say, I do think that
go ahead.
I do think that Shedeur is arrogant. I mean, there's been a lot of reporting and stuff that's come out, especially after the draft too, and before. Yep. But of him, Lamar was saying all these same things, and like, if you go back to the Lamar interviews, he's like, you want me as your quarterback, you want to win Super Bowls, you want me as your quarterback. But like, he was saying all these same things. It went further than that, though. I mean, he was fucking off his interviews. He was refusing to work out for certain teams. His dad was on record talking about there's certain teams we don't want him to go to. Like, I'm not here to debate the fact that he wasn't arrogant. I'm here to debate the fact that it's okay for other people that are white quarterbacks to be fucking arrogant and get taken still, and not Shedeur. That's more of where my point is for that whole situation. But Toph, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if we want to go, off arrogance, like I said, I just want to make sure that we're not blending the lines between, arrogance and cocky. Like I said, for any supreme athlete, you have to be confident. That's number one. If you don't have confidence, in yourself, yes, it's going to be very hard to compete against, other athletes that, they're going to leave everything out on the line. And I totally get, as a quarterback, you're supposed to be, be more buttoned up. or if you're going to be the face of a franchise, if you're out there, flashing your wrist, got the big chains on, you blasting your music, like I said, it's a different, you know, it's not a normal kind of thing and things like that in there. So until I get that part, like I said, I just don't think it's fair for us to just be, spreading, false information, talk about he can't read a defense. He hasn't played against, top competition. He's in, the Big 12. He has to play. He's not making the schedule. He's only playing the people on his schedule. Like I said, I think it's fair if you want to say he takes too many sacks. He's on the, holds on the ball too long. I think that's completely fair. But saying that, he can't play, he can't throw, he can't read defense, that's just false. So that's the problem I have and things like that. I don't care if you're black, white, green, purple. If you could play ball, you could play ball. That part shouldn't matter. But just bashing somebody because maybe you don't like his dad, he comes off as, a whole different kind of style, and it's more flashy. He's got the sunglasses on. Like I said, we shouldn't be attacking this young man because of what his dad does and things like that. That's the part, that I have a problem with.
Absolutely. So this brings us to the next part about the prank call with Shedeur. So I want to start off by saying, ever since this came out, there's been people complaining on social media about, like, well, these other people got prank called too, or someone else got a prank call. I guess Brock Purdy or somebody did. Like, why is everyone outraged over that? We didn't fucking know. Like, I'm hearing these stories now for the first time. So if you knew about this, why weren't you outraged about it when it happened? Or tell us so that we could also say that's a fucked up thing to do. But don't, now that this has happened to Shedeur and people are talking about it, then bring this up like, well, you didn't care about this? I didn't fucking know about this. So yeah, I'm going to go out here and say that everyone who does some shit like that to somebody, it's a fucking low-ass thing to do. It's really fucked up to play with somebody's emotions during a situation like that. Moving on from that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it reportedly happened to 2 other players in this draft. Who's to know if it wasn't the same guy? The same guy who grabbed 20 different prospects off his dad's iPad.
Yeah.
And, just called from 3 different numbers with his buddies. And this was just the big storyline. But they're all fucking wrong.
Absolutely. Now, to the Shedeur specific one, right? So it comes out that the person that, like you had mentioned, it was, I believe his name is Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator for the Falcons. Mm-hmm. His son got the numbers off of his iPad, went back to his kids, or his friends in college at, Ole Miss, and they were doing these prank calls. And then stupidly recorded it and put it online. I don't know what you thought was going to happen from that. You're chasing clout so badly, you thinking that fucking nearsighted, oh, this might go viral. Bro, you're a fucking defensive coordinator's son. Are you fucking kidding me? No one's going to say, hey, I know who that is, and your dad works for the NFL. I wonder where the leak came from. You put your dad's job at jeopardy. The Falcons could have fired him, or the NFL could have made a call to fire him, and they would have been completely within their right to do that. And I don't think most people are fucking shedding a tear if that would have happened. I'm not saying that that's what should have happened, but that's crazy that you would put your dad's job in jeopardy like that. Now, what I want to open up to you guys is, what do you think I have my answer, but what do you guys think that the correct punishment for this should be? Do you think it should be as simple as the fact that the son made an apology and we keep it pushing? Or do you think that there should be more done to rectify the situation?
I'll go first. As a Falcons fan, myself, that's my team. I rock with them. We talked about this, in nauseum, in our own group chat and things like that. Well, here's the problem. Jax Ulbrich doesn't work for the Falcons. It's his dad. Jeff Ulbrich wasn't the one, allegedly, that, set the thing up, leaked, Shedeur saying his phone number to his son to go ahead and, act out this whole thing. So after I've kind of, sat there and, kind of collected my thoughts a bit better, emotions, things like that. Like, so honestly, I mean, the Falcons already came out and said they're not going to do anything about it. Like I said, it's kind of tough to, penalize the dad when, he didn't have anything to do with it. Whether that be true or not, we don't have any proof for it in there. So like I said, how do you, punish someone that didn't do anything about it? It was, your son and things like that. So like I said, I'm fine as a Falcons fan. He didn't do it. No punishment. I'm good with it. It's just a bit harder to, punish somebody that, doesn't work for that team. We're in the NFL. He's in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault Jeff too much. Um, I mean, is it lazy? Yeah. I mean, you're leaving your iPad laying around, and I mean, but do you expect your son to do that?
No.
Hell no. You expect your son to do the things you taught him to do, and um, I think that was a lapse in judgment for his son. That's probably going to stick with him for a long time. I don't necessarily think there should be a penalty against Jeff, but I do think that you know the Falcons should take some extra precautions when like give him an iPad and then like I don't know put a parental lock on it or something because he can't control himself. If he can't keep it outside of his fan, what are you doing, man? Keep that thing locked up.
I mean,
This
you
is
got to
important
think,
information.
you know, I don't know how it all works, but if you have only coaches have access to that person's phone number, he had to deliberately look for that phone number. This was not on day one. This is, I think it was day two. So like I said, this is premeditated at this point in there, and the fact that you chose to record it so it could go viral, like I said, this is something that he meant to do, and his apology, I think, is BS. He's sorry he got caught.
Absolutely.
So you know exactly what you were doing. You picked the most polarizing player in the whole entire draft, knowing that he went through a whole day, did not get his name called. Then you chose to record it, put it out there. You knew that the person was going to have the biggest news, biggest impact in the whole entire draft, and you selfishly took that from that person. I don't think you should prank call anybody. So this is the most important, impactful day of their life. Like I said, everybody gets drafted. This was their dream from as a kid. And for you to, selfishly like take that moment from the whole family. Because I don't know if you guys saw the Shedeur video, but he was shot. He had no idea what was going on. He said only coaches have this number. Like I said,
I know.
Like I said, you wanted to do this. Like I said, you don't say sorry now. You know what you were doing.
Absolutely.
I know. I felt for like seeing that Shedeur clip when he was like, "Can't wait. I've been waiting for your call." Like he wanted to play for the Saints. You could almost feel it. I feel so bad for that.
And for a cocky, arrogant guy, he took all 3 days. Then he complained about it.
Humble.
Took it in stride.
Yeah,
Was
cocky,
happy that he
arrogant.
got to Browns. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, he said, "This is my chance." Like I know. I don't get this cocky, arrogant.
He said,
thing
"God don't
about
make
him.
no mistakes."
Yep. He's been a very, very upstanding man as it's come to everything that's come his way since draft. He didn't complain. He didn't bitch. He took everything in stride and very, very respectable. As far as the Jeff thing, I don't have the biggest issue with nothing being done about it. It doesn't like grind my gears or anything like that. Like it fucking sucks. You guys have a point. Like you can't control somebody else, especially of that age. It does, and this is completely speculation, but it does make me wonder the way that the kid called and was talking about, yep, you're going to have to wait longer. Like, what kind of conversations have the dad and the son been having about, oh, yeah, fuck this prospect, like, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't shit. And so the son's like, yeah, well, let me go call this ain't shit guy, tell me he ain't shit. That's a possibility. That's also speculation. Like, I'm just throwing that out there. But something that I've thought about, and like I said, I don't necessarily feel like it has to happen. I'm cool with nothing happening, whatever. There is something in the league for players that you can get, and it doesn't have to be any kind of a conviction. There doesn't have to be any kind of anything that's admitted to or anything. It's just a straight up penalty for players that if you bring dishonor on the shield, we can give your ass 6 games for conduct detrimental. It's just at the commissioner's behest. We can say, you know what, I don't like the behavior over here. You're making us as a league look bad. Go ahead, sit it down for 6 games. Now, you do that to players. I'm not saying that Jeff was the reason that this happened. It did come from your iPad. You and your family have brought shame to the league. Go ahead and shut it down for 6 games. I wouldn't be very upset about that. And I don't necessarily think that that'd be the wrong move, because you're showing, if you're talking, especially too, if we're talking about all these other prank calls that have been made, and these numbers are only for coaches, let's go ahead and because this is what the league always says, right? We're going to make an example out of this person to stop everyone else from doing it. Let's go ahead. We got the culprit for this one. We're going to smack the shit out you with the suspension, shut it down for 6 games, and let anybody else try this shit again. We're going to find you, and you're going to be in the same situation.
All I'm saying, if it was Brian Flores, he'd be suspended for the whole season.
It's any black coach.
What do you?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Is 6 games kind of detrimental? Is that too far, or is that?
My thought was 3. That was just like my initial instinct was just like, but no precedent to it was just like yeah, that sucks, but like you can't prove that he necessarily had something to do with it. But he was lazy, so give him like a 3-4 game suspension.
Well, I'm not sure, and maybe you guys know the answer, maybe we don't, but I'm not sure if conduct detrimental is just straight up 6 games or it's up to 6 games. So I'm not sure if you can walk that down if you use that as the reasoning for it.
If it's
Probably
6, then give him 6. But I think it might be up to.
Up to 6, okay.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I just wouldn't hate to see a suspension of some sort, just as an example to be made of like, all the people out here that want to do this, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a suspension,
better
fine,
not get leaked.
loss of draft pick, something like that. I mean, like I said, I'm a Falcons fan, but like I said, at the same time, you got to set your precedent. As I always say, nobody's bigger than the shield. They always gonna win. So I do think, yeah,
that's tough.
this would be the time to, have it during the draft. Like I said, the sun doesn't work there, so it's hard to find, a feasible punishment for somebody that
Exactly.
This punishment record. That's the hardest part about this.
And that's why the dad has to pay for the son's crimes, because it happened in your household.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like I said, wish we could have knew more. Like, did he, discuss the passcode? Was it just sitting there, on the living room table? Like I said, we just don't know the full story, so it's hard to know exactly how he got this.
And we'll never know.
That better not have been sitting on the living room table.
First of all,
but
what are you
even if access to all the numbers,
even if it was though, like,
wild.
even if it was just on the living room table though, I think one of you guys said that. Who's expecting their son to go and do something like that?
I guess
You would think that
these kids these days.
Yeah.
You think you raised him right? Yeah.
Everybody wants to go viral. Everything's a prank now.
But it's crazy what happens with that. Like, Kyle, I know that. Well, I don't want to put your business out there. My parents own a winery, right? So,
Yeah, I said it too. Yeah,
okay.
You're good.
If I was in fucking high school, like, what do you think my parents would have done to me if I would have like gone down and like had a fucking party at the fucking winery and dipped into the wine?
Right.
I
Oh,
would
man,
have.
you guys
I
were
would
just
have
like popping bottles.
I would have
Jesus.
never, ever done some shit like that. I would have never thought to do some shit like that for 2 reasons.
same.
First of all, my parents would have tore the fucking black off my ass, for one. And 2, what it could have done to them if the cops were called because there was a party happening and they show up and there's a bunch of kids underage drinking at my, like, I've had the wherewithal.
Well, even at the house at that point, because they own one.
Yep.
Like just because they own a place that sells alcohol, and you throw a party at your own house, like there's so much more that go. Like they could lose their business because you threw a party at your house. Like there's so much, and so you follow your freaking P's and Q's, Jax.
Yep. And as a high schooler, I knew that. I knew better than to do some shit like that. So for him to go and do that, and to not only commit the fucking act of getting the number, and to commit the act of calling, but to record yourself doing it, I just...
Yeah. And I want to go on record. I was trying to defend you in the group chat, Jax, but I have no sympathy for you at this point.
Like I said, because if the video never saw the day, would he ever would apologize? He wouldn't have, because he never would have got caught.
No,
Only because he got caught.
You're sorry that you got caught, absolutely.
And he caught himself, bro. He freaking recorded himself doing it.
Yep.
Well, it was one of your homeboys recorded you, but
Well,
get some better friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lord knows.
All right. Let's do some funny posts. Toph,
Yeah.
I know you've got we got Nolan out
You got
right
the
now.
pressure on you
got
tonight,
him.
Toph.
Yep. Pop him up.
Yep.
Hey. They look like them vampires outside of the church and sinners.
Oh yeah.
Those Remington crew.
Green, they was stealing it.
I'm going back up. Try to go back up.
Damn.
Bro. Literally. lose all idea how to play basketball.
All right, then we got mine.
Hell yeah.
Read it.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Read it.
We got Party Gets Me at Next Door. Why are men always looking for doing nothing for their birthday? And mad to celebrate the day when all my problems started.
Oof.
Now, back as a youngin, you couldn't wait for your birthday party, invite all your friends, get all your presents. I mean, honestly, after you turn past 21, you can legally drink. Man, it's just another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, true
It's
shit.
just another day. Ain't nothing to celebrate,
True shit.
man. That's just more problems for you.
Yeah, you hit 26, they're like, you can rent a car, and you're like, okay.
Thanks.
Second one,
The last
this
milestone I
happened to
get.
me the other day. Me at 2 a.m. setting my alarm for 6 a.m.
Oof.
Knowing I should have went to sleep early.
This is me every night. We do a recording and I'm up fucking editing all night. Making fucking TikToks so people can talk about white power and my shit.
This another one right here.
Kyle, this is you, right?
Oh, yeah, this is my last one. Yeah. This is just an add-on.
This
I
was
just like, how did he
crazy.
make this catch?
This was crazy. I saw this.
Hey, yo.
That is
Motherfucker
insane.
fell down. The picture is like, oh, hell no.
I could not believe that, dude.
I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
we can watch it again if y'all want. That was clean.
Run it one more time. Oh,
One more. That's crazy.
that's
Oh.
insane. What a catch. What a catch.
I
Then
just
the
love that look in
nonchalant
the
walk
picture.
off after.
Yeah, no, like,
Yeah,
I
he's
did
like-
that shit.
Some light, you know.
Yeah, I do this.
So I've got a few. If anyone didn't see this, the New England Patriots put their foot all the way in their fucking mouth on draft day. First of all, I would hate to be fucking called Mr. Irrelevant. It's funny because it was Brock Purdy, and the motherfucker wound up being somebody. But imagine being Mr. Irrelevant and then getting cut, and then motherfuckers just called you Mr. Irrelevant the whole time. That would suck. But New England Patriots draft Kobe Minor and post a fucking tweet with a picture of him and thinking they're funny talking about a minor.
Oh no.
Which is ridiculous considering that was a joke about you fucking around with minors. Not about drafting somebody named Kobe Minor. That is what old people trying to be culturally relevant goes fucking wrong, dog. Goes absolutely
It
wrong.
was like, hey, I got a good tweet for you guys. Hold up. Social media team, you have to put this out.
Yeah. I can't believe that made it through editors and whoever. Someone may have lost their job over that one. That's bad. It got taken down as it should have, but what a fucking misstep.
Definitely.
Thank God.
Since some of these are gorilla related ones, somebody at SZXXNN has changed his name and profile picture to gorilla and a picture of a gorilla. And he said, "Cause we let their homeboy Tarzan roll with us, they think we're cool." At Freddie Gibbs, like the rapper Freddie Gibbs, once the gorilla starts throwing dookie, niggas is tapped out.
You're not wrong.
Four Loko got in on it. The official Four Loko account that says "You know you can," and it's a picture of a Four Loko. Says you can totally take that gorilla by yourself.
Jesus
hell no.
Christ.
That for a local confidence, something different.
Honestly.
And then my favorite.
I need to give all 100. That honestly, like, I honestly think there's no chance we lose at that point. If there's one for Loco
For everybody?
per 100, we're good.
My favorite one at Lockdog on Twitter. Don't know about no gorilla, but I know I can beat that hashtag monkey. And then my last one, fucking, let me make sure I pronounce his name right. Tari Eason, who plays for the Rockets. Motherfuckers were talking shit about her boy on Twitter. She had to get in that motherfucker. At 30 Got Next, with a picture of Steph Curry as his profile picture, said, your son is dog shit, ma'am, go to bed. And she responded back, post a pic with you and Steph, like a dap up. Anything. Make yourself matter, please. Cook the fuck out of him! Cook the fuck out of him!
She dropped that salt bay on him, dude. She was just like, hey.
Cooked his ass, dog. That's how you gotta handle business on Twitter. Ain't no fucking peace and love, dog. Fucking sending your niggas home.
Hey, yo.
But that's all for us on this episode. Thanks for rocking with us for the whole episode. Hopefully we made you laugh. Go ahead and...
Hopefully we made you cry.
Are we Family Guy?
Is that a thing? Oh, that is a thing. All right. Don't copyright us.
If you enjoyed what you saw, please leave us a comment, a like, subscribe. If you agree with any of our takes, disagree with any of our takes, if you got a better plan for fighting the gorillas, go ahead and leave us a comment. Tell us about it. We read all of them. If you're not subscribed to us, subscribe. Leave us a like. Yeah, we appreciate you guys very much. Yeah, don't be racist. All right, everybody. That's all the time we got. Peace.
Peace.